The New Orleans Pelicans and the Big 870 WWL proudly presents Pelicans Weekly. It's a weekly radio magazine focused on the Pelicans, the fans, and the NBA. We'll get the latest from Pelicans players, coaches, and front office staff. Plus, we'll check in with our experts around the league. Tonight's show is brought to you by Smoothie King, Rule the Day, Chevron, the human energy company, by Energy, we power life, and by New Age Products, official garage and outdoor kitchen provider of the New Orleans Pelicans. Pelicans Weekly on the Big 870 starts now. Here's your host, Gus Kattengell.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. I'm Gus Kattengell, and welcome to Pelicans Weekly, where we will recap the week that was, look at the week that will be, and everything in between. Coming up next segment, the radio voice of the Pelicans, Todd Graffagnini, will sit down with Karlo Matković, who recently got his first NBA start on this past road trip. Looking forward to that conversation. So where's the team? Well, the Pelicans wrapping up a 4-game road trip last night in Oklahoma City. When we were last with you, the Pels had played Denver tough, but lost. The team headed into the final games of the road trip before this All-Star break this upcoming weekend, and they're still looking for a win. The losing streak has now reached 9 games. So let's begin a recap. Last Wednesday was the second straight meeting with Denver, where the game was tied 68-68 at halftime. Then the third quarter happened. Here's how it sounded like on the Pelicans Radio Network. Todd Graffagnini with the calls.
Another turnover. Back the other way. Porter, another dagger three. Yep. Right wing, 88-77. As Denver has just completely come out of the halftime break and said, you know what, enough is enough. Stop toying around with this team. They're on a 20-5 run. A lot of contact. Denver's getting away with a lot here in this quarter. Murray, left corner, Gordon for three. Yep. 96-80. Jokic sizing up Karlo, pops a three. Yep.
144-119 was the final. Denver with a 45-point third quarter. Head coach Willie Green.
Good first half. You know, we're executing on both ends of the floor. They're a good team. And then we come out in the third quarter and a lot of self-inflicted wounds. And this is a team that you have to take care of the basketball, take quality shots, and they're elite in transition. And the wheels kind of fell off, and we just couldn't sustain what we did in the first half, and that's the biggest difference in the game.
Trey Murphy seeing double teams everywhere, but still doing what he could do. He had 9 assists in that game. Zion, who had 28, on Trey being able to dish the ball.
You know, CJ told me 2 years ago, when you command a double team, that means you command respect. And Trey has been showing, why he commands a double team. So for him to make the reads that he made tonight, that just shows another step of his improvement in his game. So that's a big time for Murph. And like I said, I'm excited to see his growth.
Now, Saturday, the team was in Sacramento. Once again, the first half, great. So the Pels had a 65-54 halftime lead. But oh no, another 45-point third quarter would take place.
Valanciunas has it, sets a screen, no blood, no foul. Lay in Levine, 20-6 run. What a meltdown. 91-83. I just heard a Mamma Mia on the PA. Now that's funny. What's not funny is what's going on here in the third. Levine, pop a three straight up. Yep. I mean, it is all Sacramento. 21.6 seconds left in the third quarter that needs to end. Stat. Monk. One-on-one with BJ. Pop a three. Yep. It's a 45-point third quarter for Sacramento. It's deja vu all over again.
123-118, the final there. Zion, 40 points in 28 minutes.
Just finding the right angles. My teammates finding me early, like Jose on the early lob. And, my teammates just really trusted me. Coach, kept coming back to me. And, I was able to finish most of the shots.
Head coach Willie Green.
He's a monster. His ability to get to the basket, to make plays for himself and his teammates, They tried to put the fives on him for majority of the game, so making sure that we get the ball to him in space, and then he's attacking downhill pretty much all game long. So, incredible performance by Z.
And then last night in Oklahoma City, too much thunder, too many turnovers, as OKC scored 40 points off of Pels turnovers.
Williams chests it over to Caruso for the major heat check. And it's 55-28. Willie Green will take a timeout. 93-67. Oh, Jalen Williams just shoved Javonte Green 20 feet back. They'll get it back, SGA for three. Again, that's how it works. No blood, no foul.
137-101 would be the final there. Head coach Willie Green.
Yeah, we talked about it. We watched it. We went over it. But when you touch the floor against a really good team, you're in the fire. And over and over, we have to be consistent with making the right plays, the right passes. This is what they do. They turn teams over. It fuels their transition opportunities. It fuels their opportunities to get in the paint and score. And so it's a learning lesson for our group, young group on the floor tonight. And you got to go through some of the growing pains.
Earlier today, Executive Vice President of Basketball Operations David Griffin met with local media to discuss where the team is heading into the All-Star break. Here's his opening statements.
Obviously, nobody envisioned doing this sit-down with all of you while we were 12-41 when the season started. I think the thing that gives me the most hope for where we can go in the future is the character of the human beings in that locker room. Our players have withstood incredible adversity, both in terms of the injuries, but also a lot of things that people don't see, personal tragedies in their lives. And it's been almost an unimaginable cascade effect of things that have happened to us this year. And the fans really only see a very little bit of that. And at the same time, while they were dealing with all of the different Super Bowl challenges, they never let go of the rope on us. They tried to get to the building. They tried to show their support, and they've continued to do that. And it's one of the reasons that winning here is going to be so incredibly important is our fans deserve that. And I think they're committed to us in a way that's really unusual when you are sitting at 12-41. I don't think you've seen any give back on their part, and we deeply appreciate that. As I said, coming into deadline, we recognized we had a lot of work to get done. One of the things that took place this offseason, and many of you were aware of it, and it's been talked about at great length, but when we made the decision to trade for Dejounte Murray, it also signaled that we were most likely going to be doing something in the Brandon Ingram space. And Brandon and his agents at the time were very much on board with that. They understood it. We were in lockstep together. And I think Brandon showed incredible professionalism and character throughout this himself. We reached a point where financially we weren't going to be able to keep the group together as we were constructed, and we knew that. And things didn't come together quite as we thought they would in the offseason in terms of what those deals would have looked like. So we entered the season believing we could be really good together, and we wanted to see what that looked like. And for the one glorious practice we had at training camp with our full group together, I think everybody believed we were going to be incredibly good. And C.J. McCollum was one of those people, was one of the very first people to tell me, you understand we can be very, very good. And literally the next practice, we lost a player to injury. First game, Dejounte breaks his hand, and it just became a cascade effect. And so now we sit here in unprecedented times in terms of the amount of player salary we've lost due to injury. And at the same time, that doesn't absolve anyone of the mistakes we've made and of the issues that we have to address moving forward. We've talked as a front office quite a bit about the fact that no harm really befalls you as a franchise unless you fail to get better and fail to react to the things that lay bare all of your shortcomings. And I think you've seen all of those shortcomings, and we need to address them systematically and improve.
As for the pair of players the Pelicans got back in the Brandon Ingram trade, David Griffin had this to say.
Me to where we are now, which is one of the things we realized. We needed more veteran presence. We needed more basketball IQ. We needed more floor spacing around Zion. And what we really needed was championship caliber human beings and championship caliber winners. And in Bruce Brown, we get a true champion. We get somebody who's been a critical part of being a glue guy on a championship team. In Kelly Olynyk, we get somebody who's a floor spacing big with incredibly high basketball IQ, as Bruce has as well. I think that's going to make everyone's job a little easier because you're going to put guys in roles that they are more capable of playing. and their basketball IQ will help everybody play off one another a little bit more. We're really excited about both of these players from the standpoint of what they offer us moving forward. This is not viewed as a short-term situation with either player in our minds, and we hope as the season unfolds, they grow to feel the same about us. What we lost in Brandon Ingram is one of the best players in franchise history. More importantly to me and to our staff, one of the best human beings I've ever met in the NBA. Somebody is a really, really beautiful spirit and a really beautiful human being. He and his family committed themselves wholly to this community in a way that very few players ever have, and we're incredibly grateful for that. And I think you're going to see these players that are joining us be very, very similar in their commitment to this fan base and this community.
Another question thrown his way, the minutes restrictions that Zion Williamson has been playing under.
And one of the reasons he's on the minutes restrictions that he's been on is that Daniel Bove, our director of sports science and really the head of that performance team, he sits there courtside with an iPad loaded to Zion's load management, literally every minute that Zion's on the floor. And he can tell when Zion's load is spiking. He can tell when he needs to be shut down. And we've got the ability to really monitor his progress. And he's showing incredible progress daily in terms of how high his floor is rising. I think what you saw last year when he got injured, he's walking the Lakers down in that game, and he's playing at a level that very few humans have ever played at. But it was such a spike in what was required of his body that it opened him up to injury. And I think where Zion has really committed to this is his chronic workload is radically higher than it's ever been, and that's enabling us to get more from him on both sides of the ball. He's also, from a leadership perspective, doing things he's never done before. And he's much more vocal than he's ever been, and he's embracing the opportunity he has to seize this team, and I think you're going to see that. So, no, I don't think we're getting diminishing returns. I think it's quite the opposite. I think we're seeing the best of him right now, and there's more to come in that way.
Griff speaking for a little bit over a half hour. We're going to have more on that tomorrow on the New Orleans Pelicans podcast with Jim Eichenhofer, and I will go over a couple of things that he touched on as well, including Trey Murphy and the growth that he has shown so far on the court this season. When we come back, the voice of the Pelicans, Todd Graffagnini, sits down with Karlo Matković. That conversation is next when we come back to Pelicans Weekly on WWL.
Welcome back to Pelicans Weekly. Here's the voice of the New Orleans Pelicans, Todd Graffagnini, with this week's interview.
Welcome back to a post-Super Bowl edition of Pelicans Weekly. Todd Graffagnini with you. Joined by Pelicans center Karlo Matković. Karlo, first of all, before we get into the hoops, how was the Super Bowl experience for you?
Solid. I would say solid. This is my second one I've been watching, basically. Last year I had a chance to watch it when I was in G League in Birmingham. So I watched it there. It was all right. Still getting to know the sport, you know. It's not popular back home so much, so, you know, still learning.
Well, that's the key. I mean, you've now been in the country for a couple of years with the Super Bowl. How big? I mean, is it bigger than anything you could have imagined? Is it kind of made a grasp, especially with New Orleans yesterday being the center stage?
Right. Like, I saw some pictures. I saw the clips and stuff, how many people are there and stuff. I see people really love it. It's like a holiday here, it seems like. So it's probably one of the biggest things in the year that's happening in the States. So I would say one of the biggest holidays in a year. That's how it looks like.
No doubt about it. All right, let's talk about the hoops. First of all, you know, when you were growing up, Bosnia, what got you into basketball and what made you fall in love with the sport?
Basically, I started playing because my friends played, and then I wanted to hang out more with them after school and stuff, so they could like come play basketball with us. You know, I was like, yeah, sure, why not? And just out of that, like, we started going somewhere, right? Like practicing, being with them all the time, going on road trips, play with some games and stuff. It was cool. And then like them introducing me to NBA 2K because I'm a big like video game guy. They introduced me to NBA 2K and I was like, yo, this is sick kind of. So I started like, you know, enjoying it, watching a little bit, watching highlights, you know, and then like I have good memories of every like, I think we watched like 3 straight All-Star dunk contests. And we always had that day in the year, maybe like meet up with one friend's house, and we watched the All-Star and stuff, and that was like our Super Bowl type stuff.
When did you hit the growth spurt? When did you really sprout up, so to speak?
I think like 13, 14. That's where I grew the most. Like I think my 14th year, I think I grew a lot. Like 4 or 5 inches. I'm not sure how as much as in inches, but like 20 centimeters in like 2 years. So every year 10 centimeters. So that was like a lot. But I never had problems with my knees or back growing, so that was good. So like, yeah, that's when I hit like, all right, maybe I'm gonna be tall. So, you know.
Well, let's talk about your journey here now to New Orleans. And you were in Birmingham last year, and this year you've kind of gone back and forth, but now you're with the team. But when you're in Birmingham, what was the learning experience like, and what were the things you were trying to work on when you were with the squadron?
Well, basically, I tried to work the same way I'm going to play here. I'm really trying to, not get out of my game that I'm going to play here, right? Let the game come to me, be present in defense, and then offense just read and be like, be smart about, execution and stuff. So I really didn't think about it too much of what I have to do. I just want to make sure I'm sharp. I'm doing the things coaches want me to do, and then in that way I keep myself ready, I would say, for this moment, when it comes up here. When
Coach told you in Denver that you were going to make your first start, what was that moment like for you?
For me, it's a big thing, progressing throughout the year and how it is. I really appreciated that, went out there and competed and stuff, but it was really, good to feel that and experience that, especially from the city I am from. It was a big thing for me and my family, I would say, just to be here, just to be here on the court and with the guys on the bench, matter, still big things for me, and I still appreciate it every day I'm here. So.
And you performed well in Denver. You had the double-digit rebound game, and you were 1 rebound away from your first career double-double, so you're on the same court with a 3-time MVP as well. So what was that like, competing and playing well against the Nuggets?
It was great because we couldn't even talk in our language and stuff, so we kind of goofed around throughout the game and stuff. But 3 times MVP, he's going to be one of the greatest players that I ever played the game. So it was really a challenge, but make you feel sharp, ready for the game, and great experience, it's just to be out there and competing with him and being next to him, it's just a good experience and a good story to tell your kids, I played against this dude, I give him a chip a little bit, So it was really amazing to be on the court and share the court with all of the guys out here. So.
Well, you're getting, meaningful minutes now in the last week or so, and that experience for you, just kind of knowing you're going to be in the rotation and it's not going to be, I'm going to play, might I play or not, but you're definitely playing, and what's that like for you?
Well, I've been already playing pro back home, so it's not like it's something new. It's just a different league and different type of, talent of the players on the court, right? So I wouldn't say it's a lot different or new to me, because last year I played Euro Cup too, I was playing 30 minutes a game, I did my thing. So it's not something new that's happening to me, but it's still a new league, different type of playing style, different type of basketball, definitely a lot of stuff to learn, but it's not something new that I'm I gotta adjust to or whatever, I didn't do before, I will say. You just gotta get along with more the teammates, having more minutes with them, getting to know them, the chemistry on the court and stuff. So I would say only that part is kind of the part I gotta learn and be sharper and better at.
Yeah. Finally, just how big is this off season going to be for you going into next year?
Well, I really want to take care of my body and be ready for next season when it starts. Just to be sharp, ready, on top of my game and the high motor I have to be on the top level. I want to reach some heights I've never been there. So I'm really trying to work on my shot too, and just being prepared, watch the film, see what we need to get, talk to the coaches, and just be ready when that next season comes. Stay healthy. That's the main part. Stay healthy, so the whole season next year I can be healthy and in there, they gotta be available all the time. So. That's the goal, basically.
Karlo, it's been great to watch you on the court, and continued success to you, and let's keep getting better, man.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Thank you.
That's Karlo Matković, the Pelicans center, who got his first start in Denver last week, and look forward to many more starts the rest of this season. Todd Graffagnini with you here on Pelicans Weekly. We'll send it back to Gus Kattengell to wrap up the show after this on WWL.
Welcome back to Pelicans Weekly on WWL. Now, back to Gus Kattengell.
Our thanks to the Graf and Karlo Matković. Now, if you've missed any part of that interview, just go over to Pelicans.com. Search for Pelicans Weekly, as each week's episode is there for you to listen at your leisure. Now, the Pelicans, before the All-Star break this weekend, will face Sacramento twice at the SKC tomorrow and Thursday. 7 o'clock are your tip times. Pels will be back in action after the All-Star break on Friday the 21st at Dallas. For Todd Graffagnini, I'm Gus Kattengell. We hope you've enjoyed this week's episode, and we'll see you next week for Pelicans Weekly right here on WWL.
Pelicans Weekly was brought to you by Smoothie King. Rule the day. Ochsner Health System, the official healthcare provider of the New Orleans Pelicans. Keesler Federal Credit Union, official credit union of the New Orleans Pelicans. SeatGeek, get your seat in a seat. And Morris Bart, if you know, you know. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week on Pelicans Weekly, right here on WWL. Let's go, Pels.